Simply Cooking by MmmChef is brought to you in part by Orleans Physiotherapy, specializing in a wide range of physical rehabilitation services, including acupuncture, cupping, and more. Orleans Physiotherapy, keeping your family moving since 1990.
The recipes featured in the following program were made by a trained professional. Please do try this at home.
Oh, hey, you guys got here just in time. I just got back from the market with some simple and beautiful ingredients. I'm about to fire up the grill. You know me, I'm not making your typical burgers and dogs. I'm taking it up a notch. Let's go inside. Today I'm making a fresh grilled feast, perfect for entertaining. I've got my grill on, getting nice and hot, and I'm gonna be prepping all these beautiful ingredients to get on the grill for a party that I'm having later on. We are Canadian after all, and everyone loves to grill, whether it's cold or hot, it doesn't really matter. I'm sure you've been caught outside in your flip-flops at -40 like me, setting up the grill for a delicious dinner. I am prepping some onion for the grill, and today I'm going to be making a whole bunch of different recipes. I'm going to be making a marinated chicken, a Cajun style chicken, shrimp skewer, grilled corn salad, some portobello mushrooms for vegetarians that are coming to my party, and an array of amazing vegetables. I'll also be doing a sweet and savory pineapple salsa, and even a grilled dessert. I've got some red onion here that I'm just going to get slicing for my grill, and already starting to make me cry. Can't get away from crying with onions, can you? I've got a red onion and a yellow onion. The red onion I'm gonna grill, and it's gonna be chopped up later on to go into my grilled corn salad. And then the white onion is gonna be grilled just for eating with the rest of the food. I always like to include something for the vegans and vegetarians that I serve, or people who just don't want to have meat. So portobello mushrooms are a wonderful thing to have on the barbecue. They have the same similar texture as a meat would and give the same satisfying feel without the meat. I like to take out the center and just get rid of those. And then I actually like to grill them bottom side up. I don't flip them actually, because I put the flavor inside and it stays right inside the mushroom, which is really great. So I've got my olive oil spray. This is one of my favorite kitchen gadgets. You can refill it a million times and you just pump it and it sprays really nicely. So I'm gonna spray some olive oil on the top of my portobello mushrooms. I've got some balsamic drizzle here. I'm gonna do the same thing. Get these on my tray ready for the barbecue. I've already peeled this beautiful corn. It's the perfect time of year for fresh veggies from the garden. And I've already peeled the corn, but I need to spray it with some olive oil because I want the grill marks to show up really nicely, and fat really helps that. So if I put these on the barbecue just as is, eventually they would get nice and brown, but if you add a little bit of oil, it just helps to pump that up. And who doesn't love the look of grill marks on corn? I have these beautiful jalapeno peppers. Well, now that they have oil on them, they're slimy. I have some jalapeno peppers that I've also coated with some oil. And this is a beautiful purple bell pepper that I picked from my garden this morning. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna coat it with some oil. Give my hands a quick rinse. I made some chimichurri before you got here. What's chimichurri? Chimichurri is a Caribbean or Latin American version of pesto. And we all know that my favorite herb is basil. So of course it has basil in it. It has basil, cilantro, parsley, and a little bit of mint. I've squeezed a whole lime in there and also a splash of olive oil. Let's see. There we go. All right. You can see the sauce is all blended up. It looks just like a pesto, but the aroma is just intoxicating. It is much more aromatic as well as flavorful than just a plain pesto. Oh, of course there's garlic in there. You can't have a marinade without garlic. I'm struggling, so I'm just gonna pour this right from the food processor right into my bowl. Look at that gorgeous color. Now I'm gonna use chicken to marinate in this, but this is really great with steak. You could do it with a fish, with scallops, really any type of protein. Or instead of using the balsamic drizzle on the portobello mushrooms, you could coat it in this chimichurri. That would be delicious. I actually have quite a bit left in the bottom of my bowl, so let's coat some onion, and I'm gonna just put them on the same plate as the chicken, and then this onion will have some chimichurri flavor. My favorite way to entertain is doing a barbecue. Inviting my friends and family over and just firing up the grill and people standing around outside and enjoying each other's company, sipping on drinks and grilling up your favorite foods. This way you don't have to actually have all of the food ready when your guests arrive, which is a great trick. You can actually just have everything prepped, and then when your guests get here, you can fire up the grill and you can grill everything in person. One of my favorite seasonings on shrimp and seafood is Cajun seasoning. So I made up these beautiful tiger shrimp skewers earlier, and I'm just gonna get them going with my Cajun seasoning. Oh, I think I see Wendell outside who just gave me the signal that the barbecue is nice and preheated. We've preheated the barbecue to about 450. I like to get it really, really, really hot before I get anything on the grill so that the grill marks will show up really nicely. I'm gonna clean up here and, I'm gonna get Wendell to help me with this other platter, and I'm gonna head on out to the grill to give these some beautiful marks, and then when we come back from the break, we'll assemble some stuff. Oh, look at that. My barbecue's nice and hot and ready for me to get things on the grill. No better tools than your hands.
This program is brought to you in part by Orleans Physiotherapy, providing treatments as well as education to promote healthy and active living. Orleans Physiotherapy, keeping your family moving since 1990.
I've got my first set of ingredients all grilled. My chicken is cooked through and just resting. Look at those beautiful grill marks. My shrimps, I even grilled a lemon that we're gonna squeeze on that a little bit later. My onions are ready. I'm gonna use those in the corn salad. The corn needs to cool a lot before I can handle it and cut all those kernels off. Look how beautiful the portobello mushrooms turned out. My purple bell pepper, just delicious. So, I'm just gonna jump to dessert because I've got it here in front of me. I always have leftover muffins or cupcakes or banana loaf. How many people make banana loaf and always have some leftover pieces? What I love to do with leftover baked stuff is actually grill it. What a neat idea. Okay, so I have little leftover pieces of banana loaf that are a little bit stale, which is kind of what I want. I've cut them into cubes and I'm just gonna put them onto skewers. Then later on, I'm gonna grill these and they're gonna get some beautiful grill marks on the barbecue. And then when I serve them, I'm going to mush up some fresh berries and pour them on top, and it's gonna soak in that deliciousness with the grill mark. Oh, it's just gonna be fantastic. All right, so I couldn't do a grilling show without a pineapple, and I couldn't do a second season of Simply Cooking without including one of my famous pineapple recipes. So of course we're gonna do what's gonna go really well with this, some grilled pineapple salsa. This is my favorite way to take the top off a pineapple. Perfect. Sometimes I actually do that at the grocery store and get rid of the top so that I have more space in my bag to carry this guy. All right, I'm gonna show you how I peel my favorite way to peel a pineapple. I'm gonna slice it into big slices and get it onto my board for grilling. And then later on, we're gonna turn this into a salsa. I've already grilled my jalapeno that I'm gonna use in this. It's gotta cool down so that I can take the skin off and the seeds out really easily later when it's cooled. I only have this knife. I should have a bigger knife, but this will work. All right, so I love to eat grilled pineapple. It's delicious, savory. You can just grill it up in like pineapple steaks and serve it alongside real steak or chicken or meat, or you can use it as your meat alternative. It's delicious, savory, so sprinkled with salt and chili flakes, maybe even a squeeze of lime, and you grill that and you can serve that on the side. Another way that I love to use it is in a sweet way. Instead of sprinkling it with salt and olive oil and all of those savory things that I just mentioned, you can actually sprinkle it with sugar or brush it with some maple syrup or honey, and that grilled on the barbecue caramelizes and creates this delicious sweet treat that is yummy on its own with some sprinkled nuts or even on top of a bowl of ice cream. Yum. All right, I've got these beautiful pineapple steaks. Because I'm grilling these, I want a little bit of fat on here. The sugar will caramelize really nicely, but I don't want it to burn. So the olive oil, what it's gonna do is gonna help coat it with some fat. And this way, when I grill it, the sugars won't caramelize as fast and burn, and I'll still get those really, really nice grill marks. Just gonna flip those over. Awesome. Of course, if you don't have a spray, you can just take your olive oil and drizzle, or if you have a pastry brush, that would work too. You can just dip it in. Just gonna line these up on my tray. What are these, you ask? These are green tomatoes. I love to grow tomatoes. It's something that I always have in my garden. My Nona came to Canada in the 1970s, and she actually brought tomato seeds with her. And so some of these tomatoes are actually grown from heirloom seeds that have been in my family for decades and decades. This is actually a tomato. It looks so different than the tomato that you're used to from the grocery store. And these are the tomatoes that come from the mountains of Cosenza in Italy, in the south of Italy. And they actually have such a stronger flavor. My husband Wendell really doesn't like tomatoes at all. He's never liked them on a sandwich. He thinks they're slimy and they don't have good flavor. But he will eat my family's tomatoes because there's nothing like it. So I love to take green tomatoes all throughout the summer and grill them on the barbecue. It's a way to use them up and showcase your garden before they're ready. And what's also neat is sometimes when you're growing things, you can have some rotten stuff or you can have them starting to go bad. So a great way to use these up and not waste them is to just cut the bad part off, cut out any of the bad part that you see. And then you have this leftover piece of green tomato. At this point, you could be like a Southern American and you could fry them. But I just really, really love to grill them. This one is a little bit red already, but it will actually grill up really nicely. I'm gonna give these all a beautiful slice, and same thing. I'm gonna drizzle them with olive oil. And then when I'm grilling them later on the actual barbecue, I'll bring the salt outside with me, and that's when I'll sprinkle the salt on to season it up. I think this guy I'm gonna leave the top on. How pretty is that gonna be? Wendell, do you still have the barbecue on? He does. It's nice and hot and ready for me. So I'm gonna take these outside with my cake pops here, for lack of a better term, and I'm gonna give these a grill. And then when we come back from the break, you guys are gonna see me put everything together, turn the pineapple into a salsa, turn the corn into that delicious salad, and get this all served up and on a platter ready for my guests who are gonna arrive really soon. We'll see you after the break. Look at my grilling feast about to be put together. I've got everything grilled and everything ready to assemble for my party. My pineapple is looking amazing. It's caramelized. I'm gonna chop it up into little tiny dice to make my famous pineapple salsa. This is basically a take on a regular salsa, but instead of using tomatoes, I'm using pineapple. I did make a version of this last season, but this one is different because it's grilled and it's gonna have that nice intense depth of grill flavor. This is delicious on meat. You can use it like when you eat chips and salsa. It's yummy on fresh vegetables, and sometimes I just eat it with a spoon because, man, it is that good. I'm gonna chop off this pineapple. It's got a sweet and spicy flavor, so as soon as I'm done this, I'm gonna also get my jalapeno pepper in here. And of course, you can get all of these recipes online when the show airs, so you don't have to take notes or remember what I'm doing because I've got a lot going on here. My pineapple is all chopped up and ready to go. I like mine really chunky, so as you saw, I left my pineapple pieces quite large, but if you like tiny pineapple, tiny salsa, you could chop it up smaller, or you could even do this in a food processor and get it down to small little tiny pieces like some traditional tomato salsas that you see. I've got a shallot here. I'm using a shallot because a shallot is almost like a mix of an onion and garlic together, and so this way I only have to chop one, I don't have to do both. So I've got my shallot all chopped right in there with that guy. And I've got a grilled jalapeno somewhere. Where is he? Right here, hiding. I'm gonna take the seeds out because I don't want it to be that spicy. I love spice, but my guests probably don't, and Wendell definitely doesn't. In a pepper, did you know that all of the spice and heat actually lives inside of the seeds and inside of the membranes here? So the more membrane you remove and the more seeds that you're able to remove, the less spicy it's going to be. If I was gonna be eating this by myself, I would leave this one intact because I like a medium level of spice, but I want this to be mild. So I'm gonna do my best to remove all of the seeds and all of the inside. And just to make sure that there's not one rogue spice in there, I'm just gonna give my knife a quick rinse to make sure all of the seeds and all of the membrane are gone. These guys I'm gonna give a really small dice to. Again, you could make this in a food processor. If that's what you're doing, I might suggest that you process the shallot and this jalapeno first so that they can get nice and small before you add in any of the other ingredients. All right, jalapeno, red onion / shallot, and limes and cilantro. Got some fresh limes here and some fresh cilantro and fresh basil from my garden. I'm gonna tear off some cilantro. Oh my goodness, I can smell and taste the heat inside of those seeds. Give this a beautiful quick chop, rough chop, and get that in my bowl. I'm gonna squeeze the juice of 2 full limes. I like to roll the lime in my hands before I squeeze it because this helps to loosen up a little bit of that juice in there. All right. Oh, beautiful. These limes are nice and juicy. I'm gonna use 3, then I'm gonna save one for garnish. Oop. My hands are slippery. I'm gonna give them a nice wipe. You cannot have a bit of salsa without a little bit of olive oil and a very generous, big pinch of freshly mulled coarse sea salt. All right, give this a quick stir. And now my pineapple salsa is ready to go. I'm gonna set this to the side and let this sit, and all the flavors will kind of meld together. This salsa, along with the corn salad that I'm about to make, are 2 things that in this meal you could make in advance. This actually gets better as it sits in the fridge as the flavors come together and all the juices kind of meld together. This I find is more delicious on the second day, so you could definitely make that at a later time. I'm gonna clean my board and get all of the spice off of it because we don't want any spice in our corn salad. So my trick for that is just flip my cutting board over, use the other side, and then when I'm done prepping, I just wash everything. And this way I don't have to waste 2 boards. So in this, we have grilled corn. Look how beautiful the grilled corn is. My grilled purple portobello mushroom, my purple bell pepper, which is now kind of turned a little gray. This delicious lemon balm. Lemon balm is an herb that smells and tastes like lemon rind, but there's no lemons. It's just green. Oh, it's so aromatic. And those grilled purple or red onions. So first I'm gonna chop these guys up nice and rough. And traditionally this salad would have cilantro in it, but I've already got cilantro in my salsa, and I really wanna showcase my garden to all my guests since some of this stuff came from my garden. So I'm using the lemon balm, and I'm also gonna use some basil because as we all know, as I tell you every episode, basil is my favorite flavor. I'll give this a nice little quick chiffonade. All right, now this bell pepper is not spicy, so we don't need to be as careful when it comes to taking the seeds out. If there are some seeds left in there, that's okay because they don't have any spice at all. Look how pretty that is. Green inside and dark purple on the outside. This is my first time growing bell peppers this year, and how pleased am I that they turned out so well. Give this a nice quick rough chop. And just for the sake of TV, I think I'm only gonna do 2 ears of corn, and then I'll add the rest later when you guys are gone. So I've got my ears of corn here. So this way they fall all over the board, but watch this. If I put them in the bowl and cut right in the bowl, then it catches it all for me and I don't have corn all over the place. You can also do this by putting like an upside down plate inside of a deeper bowl. I see some people do it like that. And some people do it with a paring knife. And I'll show you on the next one how you would do it with a paring knife. With a paring knife, you would hold the knife towards yourself and you just slice it like that. This is obviously a big knife, so pretend it was small. I still have corn everywhere, but that's okay. All right. That's enough to show you. So the other half of the lime I said was for garnish, but actually I forgot. I need it for this. A little bit of olive oil. Some salt. I've already mulled that for us. I've got a can of rinsed and drained black beans here. I call this a corn salsa, but actually some people might have heard this term before, cowboy caviar. That's what this is. It's got a lot of southern flavors with the black beans, the grilled corn. And on top of that, I'm gonna add some delicious goat cheese that I'm just gonna crumble on top. Oh yeah. If you don't eat dairy, you could leave this out altogether. You could chop up some almonds or cashews and put this on top, or you could find some dairy-free soft cheese alternative and use that, or you could just leave it out altogether. We've got my beautiful grilled corn salad. I'm just gonna put these here. Some nice microgreens to go on top. And let me get rid of this board and wipe this all into the sink so I can show you the dessert before we run out of time. All right, so I've got my beautifully grilled, leftover, kind of stale banana cake. You could use any cake, as mentioned, pound cake, what have you. And I'm going to mush up some of these blackberries and blueberries. And my fork is hiding somewhere in here. All right. Oh, good thing I'm wearing a black shirt because we just squirted all over. But I want that. You could use a food processor. Of course, it would be much cleaner if you were at home, but I want to give you guys the effect of what it looks like. Awesome. And then I'm gonna pour this onto each one and kind of just let the juice of the berries kind of soak in. This actually would also be a great time if my cake wasn't banana flavored and it was just like a white cake or a golden cake, I would use the lemon to squeeze on top. Wow, look at this barbecue spread. What a wonderful, entertaining meal. I am so excited to have my friends over and to eat this delectable, fantastical, and simple meal. See you next time.